Oh, thank you.
Hey everyone, before we get this episode started, also, I wanted to sound like a YouTuber, that's why I started off with, hey everyone, like, subscribe below. You know how YouTubers are. Okay, but before we get started, I want y'all to know we are going extra big with the All-Star season of Vulnerability Time podcast. So, guess what? We got video podcast. So, click in the episode description below if you wish to watch the video of the podcast as well. It'll be a YouTube link, so you can go ahead and get it going and get watching it. Make sure to follow, like, subscribe below. Such a YouTuber, right? Anyways, folks, enjoy the episode. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another bonus episode of Vulnerability Time. I am your host and published author, Josias Abel. Okay, folks, before we get into this special guest and the episode topics, how cool are these headphones, y'all? How cool are these headsets? Look, I don't even play games that much, y'all, but I just feel like such a gamer when I put these on. I swear I should start a Twitch and all that good stuff, folks. And it lights up for those of y'all who aren't able to see it because you're listening through audio platform. It's RBG headsets. They're pretty cool. Got them at Wally Green's, folks, for $30 because it helped fix a technical difficulty that I had. So we love that, folks. We love technology in the 21st century. Okay, with that being said, so we're going to be talking about, and if we have time for the rest, we'll get into that. But the topics are going to be people want you until they have you. The second topic is I don't care what people think. Third topic is do walls protect you from the good and protect you from the bad? Anyways, with all that being said, let us introduce our special guest, Kenn. So how does it feel to just be on a freaking podcast, a popular podcast?
It feels amazing. It feels really cool. Honestly, I was really happy whenever you reached out to me. I've seen a lot of your posts on Instagram and I actually listened to a few podcasts and I was like, hey, you know what? This is awesome. And, just seeing you grow from the very start, because I saw that, you had started the podcast at the beginning and just, the transition that you've come into and stuff, I feel really happy to be on. So thank you.
That's awesome. Oh, okay. So tell us a little bit about you, Kenn. So it's my understanding you moved to Dallas, right?
Yeah. So moved to Dallas, actually moved back to Houston and officially just back in Houston again. Okay. And so far, loving it. Happy to be back in my hometown. So.
Oh, cool. Southwest Houston or North?
So right now I'm basically towards the Katy, Cypress area, and just hanging out over there for now. So we're trying to see if I move into the Heights area. So.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, the Heights is pretty cool. I like the Heights. Heights is pretty cool. I stay on the Richmond-Katy border. So
So right where we grew up.
Yes, for now. I am moving in February to a different state.
Oh, nice. Congratulations. What state?
Oh, I don't know yet.
Oh, surprise.
Fun fact. Because I applied for, I don't think I'm able to say specifically what I'm in the hiring process for right now.
Yeah.
It's kind of federally. There we go.
Okay, that's cool.
Government-y. I don't know if I'm allowed to speak much about it, but that. So we'll see. Hopefully, something happens in February. Hopefully.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm excited to see where it takes you. So
Sweet, sweet, sweet. I am not. I'm just sitting here, I don't know. I don't even have the bandwidth to think about tomorrow. As much as like I want to, I literally am not able to. Long story, funny story, but I don't know what I'm talking about, honestly. Okay, I am having a social anxiety moment. That's what I'm doing. I've been having social anxiety today, so we love that. And so I'm going to bring it all to the podcast because that's vulnerability time. Bring all of you in that moment as you are. Um, okay, so Kenneth. Okay, so do you prefer Ken or Kenneth or Kennedy? Like, what do you prefer?
yeah, so I go by Kenneth. In high school, I used to go by Kenny. But honestly, either Kenn. Let's just do Kenn for today.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Ken. Okay, cool. Okay, so Ken. So that topic, people want you until they have you. I mean, what is that? What is your definition of that? Like, how do you relate to that?
Yeah, no. So, I mean, it ties back all the way to relationships. So the reason why, like that was such a impactful topic to me is because, a lot of the times people will say, hey, I'm here for you. I'm here to talk to you. I'm here to listen to what's going on in your life and be that support for you and stuff. And you're like, wow, I can really rely on this person, and especially whenever you're going through hardships and stuff, it's one of the most difficult things to actually find the genuine people who actually really want to be there for you. And so what was happening in my time in my life back in 2 years ago, I was going through a huge transition. I like to call it character development. And so
Feels
I was,
great, doesn't it?
yeah. So I was going through a huge character development in that time. And, it was really just trying to find a lot of the friends reaching out to a lot of friends and telling them, hey, I'm, not doing so well. And a lot of them even asked me, hey, you're acting a little strange. What's going on? And from there, I'd reach out to them and talk to them and stuff, and they'd listen to me for, a few minutes. And then from there, it just turned into a still conversation. And I felt like I was just, over explaining myself in the situation I was in without any really kind of like, they weren't listening or they just weren't, really caring too much. And so once I noticed, it really made me realize, oh, maybe I'm venting too much. Maybe it's just me and maybe I'm overreacting. So it pulled me back a lot. Right. And so that's one of the situations that I talk about, like people want you until they have you. And, you're not really your full self all the time around people. I mean, once you walk around outside and stuff, people tell you, hey, how's it going? How's your day? It's going great. Everybody's going to answer that.
Right.
You're not going to be like, oh, well, let me tell you about this day, this is what happened to me. Right. So that's one of the big situations. Right. But it also transitions into, relationships and, being a single guy and dating and stuff, around and trying to meet new people. I want to build an actual value with a relationship. I don't want it to be a meaningless relationship. Right. I take, every kind of relationship that I have with people to the next level because I do want to be there for them. I want them to know that I'm there for them and I want them to be there for me. And so that was probably the toughest part because, once you're giving yourself in a relationship to somebody and you expect to be accepted and cared for the way that you're caring for them, is the moment that they kind of back away and they're like, okay, this is way too much for me. So
yeah, what the fuck is up with that?
Yeah.
Up with that? Yeah, sorry, continue.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's exactly what was in my head at the time too. I was like, what is going on? I mean, I literally gave you everything. And from that point on, it was just downhill.
Right.
And, you told me to be vulnerable. You told me to be, you accepted me for who I was and what I came from and all that stuff. And then now what? It's nothing. Right. So, yeah. I mean, I'm sure you've experienced stuff like that too, right?
Oh gosh, you are so podcast right now. Oh yes, you just that question. Yes, we love that. Okay, 1000%. So three things. One, a lot of people, and I've been this way too. I'm not saying necessarily relationship. Um, a lot of people, what I've experienced, I'll just speak on relationships. Um, a lot of people that I've encountered from my experience, there we go. I'm not saying everybody I'm saying that out loud to remind myself that not everybody is the same. Because everyone who's known season 1 and 2 of the podcast knows that I can quickly generalize all men, villainize them all. So I'm just like, I've been working on that because they know now I don't hate men anymore. So that's great because I was like, how do I date men when I hate men? Weird. But anyways, okay, so that whole statement makes me think about, because you kind of like covered the principle of it. I'm gonna talk about like a sub branch of that principle that you had mentioned. So from what I also experienced is, okay, I'm gonna say it like this. How about this? Holy Spirit, my higher powers, they were telling me, they're like, you want all this in a man. Okay, are you that as well? Like, if you looked in the mirror right now, would you date you? And once upon a time, I was like, shit, no.
Like, no, I totally understand that too.
Right?
Because, I mean, I was literally in the same boat. There was like something that just kind of came over me too. And, you know, like, I looked in the mirror too, and I was like, am I willing to be the person that, you know, I would see my daughter dating in the future if I were to have a daughter? Mm-hmm. You know, like, am I gonna be the man that, you know, is going to be everything that I want my daughter to date, you know, or be the man that she marries someday? And that kind of just set me back a little bit. And, you know, looking back in the mirror and all the stuff the way that I was living my lifestyle really, you know, resonated with what I was thinking. I was like, okay, I'm not the guy that I want to be for any girl, and how can I be a better man? And so that's what literally just kind of put me out there and started just realizing, you know, like, there's a lot of things that I need to change. Mm-hmm. So yeah, but I totally get that. I mean, I'm on the same boat as you. Like, all the higher powers, please start talking to me right now.
We're on the same yacht, Ken. We like to be a little bougie on it.
Yeah, I like that. We're on the same
yacht. Yeah, we're on the same yacht. Like, when people say whatever floats your boat, I'm like, a yacht.
A yacht. Yeah, you gotta manifest.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And that, just like having that realization of like, yeah, I want my man to be this, and I want him to be, you know, patient and stuff like that. And then, you know, a lot of those qualities, I'm not talking physical qualities, I'm talking like just internal qualities. I was like, and this was years ago, but like those internal qualities, I was like, yeah, I want him to be patient, I want him to be this, I want him to be that. And I'm just like, I'm not even those things yet, you know. And so now I'm those things and more, and I love me. I would definitely date me in a heartbeat. I actually do date myself. That's part of like my self-love journey. I know, like, people say like to date yourself, and basically what that means, it's also like, can also look like self-care. It can look like taking yourself out to a movie, treating yourself how you would want a significant other to treat you. So I started doing that, and that was so helpful because it's like, I've only dated one person in my life. And that's I don't want to say I have high standards. I just, mm, actually, that is a topic that is something I can bring up later. How about that?
Yeah.
Um, it actually goes into one of the later topics. But anyways, so going back to the whole subsection that I took this on, it also goes back to like the main section of like people want you until they have you, because um, I'm just going to use myself as an example. I'm not going to really like bash men right now because I can tell, like, if I do say it, I'm probably going to be biased. So that's why I'm just going to use myself, because it's still true. So yes, that's what I wanted in a man, but I didn't even have the internal qualities, and I wasn't even ready to sustain, what I wanted, and so it's like when I eventually got, that type of man, I didn't know how to keep him.
Yeah.
Now I'm not saying like, okay, well, that situations was not when I was like dating. This was like way before I dated anyone. This was like beginning years of my college years, which is when my healing journey and my self-love journey, well, the healing journey has been happening, but the self-love journey just skyrocketed. So yes, in that skyrocketing, of course, there was collateral damage. Um, hurt people, but healed people also healed people.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, so it
Totally
was.
understand that.
So yeah, I remember there was two guys, and me, I'm okay. This is how I see looks. I'm just like, of course, I have to be attracted to you to some extent, physically. So it's like, for me, it's like looks, for me, looks can get you to the door, but that personality will open it. So that type of thing. So the reason why I said that is because these two guys, one, oh my God, I was like drop dead attracted to him physically. Like, it was like I was really attracted to him, physically really attracted to him, and I was attracted to his heart. So that I was like, wow, because for me, I'm just like, yes, they can look hot on the outside, whatever, but I'm like, I need them to also be hot on the inside. That heart has to be just as attractive, or not even more than, the external. And then the second guy, I was attracted to him, but I wasn't like wildly physically attracted to them. But the thing is, they both had the great hearts that I was looking for. However, I was not able to sustain either of them. I messed it up. They were, and so it's just like I wanted them, and then I had them. I didn't know how to keep them. I wasn't in a, I was not.
And yeah, I'm gonna stop you right there too, because like,
yeah, go ahead.
honestly, exactly, what you're saying is, I'm gonna go back a little bit here, because you said something that you hit it with the nail, the hammer on the nail, and literally, like, hurt people, and like, that one saying itself cannot be more truthful than anything I've ever heard. And I didn't really realize that either until like I stepped back and looked in the mirror, and I was like, I messed up two relationships. You ever, like, you're in the moment of, dating someone or potentially dating someone, and I had the moment where I messed this up. I could have done this differently. I could have been better in this situation. And it's like, and I think that it takes a different level of maturity in people to kind of just accept, hey, what could you have done differently to make the situation better? How could you have addressed, like, the communication, or how could you have just elaborated more on, what you expected, and, like, and how things made you feel, versus, just basically accepting it and being like, okay, fine, they want to do this, I guess I can do it too. And just being, it's a level of pettiness and just avoiding, that pettiness that we as humans just continue to build up on. It's like if somebody, yeah, and it's horrible, and that, like, to me, one thing that I realized too is that, like, I was being petty, but in the end, it was hurting me more because I was just doing it just to kind of get back at someone. And, in the end, I hurt myself, but at the same time, I hurt somebody else. And looking back at those situations, I think, man, I didn't deserve to hurt myself. And that person themselves didn't deserve to be hurt at all. And even if I was hurt out of their actions, it should have just been to a level of, hey, this is not okay. Let's go ahead and talk about this. Instead of just basically saying, you know what, I'm, like, just being petty and just being, I'm done. Right. And it goes back to that same, the start of this conversation. It's people want you until they don't. And I've been in a situation where I wanted someone too, but then I realized, hey, you know what? I don't want to be with them. Right. And it's better to communicate that than to continue this, consistent battle of just trying to be, trying to outbeat them in what they did to you and stuff, right? Or so on and so forth.
Right.
Yeah.
That made me think about something. First off, very well said. Thank you so much for the vulnerability. I also learned, because you had mentioned, it takes maturity to look back and think like, okay, like, what could I have done different? Not necessarily like, not in like a shameful way, but like, as a learning way, like, what can I learn? What did I learn? There we go. And taking on those learned lessons to just the next season in life, whether, regardless if that's romantic, platonic, or just personal. So something that I learned by looking back from those relationships, those romantic relationships, and I was able to apply this to my relationship with myself, is I learned that a lot of times, at least for me, I have to give in order to keep. Like, this kind of goes back to that statement, like, am I everything that I want in a man,
Yeah.
And it's just like, I gotta give them love too in order to, keep them. Like, they can't just love me and I just hate them, and and
exactly.
Just be right. And so that's something I learned, is like, some things we gotta give in order to keep.
Yeah.
And so,
and I feel like, but the issue is too, is like, our society is like, it just builds a picture, at least in my end, I feel like this is my perspective, right? And I know, like, everybody's got their own perspective, right? So from my experience and things that I've seen, is that, like, our society has just built us to continue to take from people instead of just being able to give back. And, like, especially with like, social media and stuff, people are like, oh, let me just, you're actively consuming things all the time. And, like, and that's why, I really, like, whenever you ask me, hey, would you like to be a part of this podcast? I was like, heck yeah, this is a podcast I'd like to be a part of, because you know what? It's not just me consuming things. It's me being able to be vulnerable and being able to tell people, hey, it's okay. This is what I've gone through. And guess what? Everybody, and they might not talk about it, but people experience things that you might be experiencing at that moment. The difference is that you just have to be able to communicate, just listen, people have to be vulnerable with people. So yeah, I mean, it's,
vulnerability is victory. It really is.
Yeah, no, it really is.
Things, Kenn. I like either or, Kenn.
Yeah, it's cool. You can call me Kenn.
I like either or. Two things that you made me think about. One, thank you for being on this podcast. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna release your episode earlier than I originally had planned because I already had like an episode, the release schedule all planned out and ready to go and all that good stuff. But I'm gonna release your episode earlier than that. So probably in like phase 1 or phase 2 of the episode releases, because I'm probably releasing like 3 episodes a week. Yours will probably be on the second week. And I say this because I looked on my analytics today, which I stay away from the numbers of the podcast because not all of them, the more that I expand the podcast, Vulnerability Time podcast to like other platforms. Like, for example, my latest contract was with Amazon Podcasts. So now my podcast is heard on Amazon Podcasts, for example.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's heard on every single podcast platform now. Every platform except iHeartRadio. But the thing about that is my main contract is with Spotify and Anchor. So it's like the numbers, not all the numbers reflect how the podcast is actually doing. Okay. So Spotify, the numbers it's just doing great globally. However, I won't get to see the specific numbers because now I have
the different platforms worked. Yeah.
Right. So it's like it's still huge, it's still huge, but it's just like the only accurate numbers I get are with my main contract, which is Spotify and Anchor. But the others, I still get a ballpark, but it's not an exact number. So I do shout out to Spotify and Anchor for trying to gather all those numbers. But the reason why I'm saying that is because I am definitely one to get caught up in numbers. Okay. So I had to delete all of my analytic app, like the dashboard where I can go and see the analytics. I just have to delete it so I don't get tempted to look at it and get caught up on numbers, because I'm like, that just defeats the purpose of the podcast.
Yeah.
But I went back on it today and I was very pleased to see that for the first time, like the amount of men that the analytics based off sex and gender, males make up 40% of the listeners for this podcast. Yeah. It's awesome. Ken, it's never ever been that high. It's always the highest that it's been is like 37, but it does not stay there long. It stays there for like a day and then it drops down to 28 or to 32. And
wow, that's pretty crazy though. I mean, like, I see that's what gets me kind of like, it ticks me off. Okay, like I'm just gonna put it very bluntly.
Wait. I'm gonna finish because I
go ahead.
I want to finish giving you your props, Ken. So to have a male, come on and be vulnerable, it's amazing. Like, I looked at the analytics today and I literally started tearing up. Like, everyone on here, they know I will tear up in a second over anything. I don't care if I don't know you or if something's cute or sad, I'm gonna tear up. But, like, Ken, if you start crying, I will start crying. Like, I will tear up. I actually teared up at first when you started talking. It's a good thing. It's a sign of empathy. It's a sign of just a soft heart that can receive. But anyways, because I'm tired of seeing male suicide rates go up in this country. There are more women in this country than there are men. However, the male suicide rate is on average 75%. of
Yep.
suicides in America, 75%, and the number is growing. So at first it was 72%, and then I checked back a year ago, and now it's 78%. So on average, 72, 78, that is on average 75%.
Right.
And
Those
that
are some
breaks
actually
my
like
heart.
pretty crazy numbers. It's just even hearing
Exactly.
that, because that's actually really
Yeah.
sad.
Because men don't make up the majority of the American population, but they make up so much of the majority of the suicide population. And the thing is, like, it's increasing. Apparently, within 5 years, it is set to be, and this is just a hearsay, they don't know, this is speculation, but it is set to be around 82 to 84% within the next 5 years. Men,
Wow. Wow.
men, not women, men. And so the main people know, but for folks who are just, tuning into this podcast, the main reason why this podcast was started, because I wasn't going to do the podcast, but it's because you never know who's on their way home to take their lives.
Yeah.
And they might just come across a special guest on this podcast and they decide to live just a little bit longer. It's worth it. And so that's why it would always break my heart when the analytics would be so low when it comes to males. And I'm like, I know the word. Sorry, I accidentally paused the recording. It's starting back. So, and it's like, I know the word vulnerability time is something that could be a deterrence for males, looking at a podcast. So to see it at 40%, wow. So that's huge. And I'm going to let you speak. I'm going to shut up, I swear. I just don't want to
No,
forget
you're
what
good. No, honestly, like, I mean, I
I
find
want to
this.
thank you. I just want to thank you because of literally what you just said, Ken. I'm going to make sure your episode comes out a lot early. I don't know, like, who's live is gonna. Ken, you are so many people's hero, and you will never ever beat them.
Hey, I mean, not trying to be a hero. I'm just trying to literally just speak up on this stuff. As a person who, I do struggle mentally. I have my struggles, and I think everybody does. But the difference is that I actually communicate what I'm struggling with to the people who actually care for me, my group, my friends, and all those people. Luckily, I have a really good support system. My everything's been helping me out a lot. But the number one thing, that is crazy is just hearing, the statistics that you just brought up about male suicide, in, like the entirety of the U.S. And you're right. I mean, we barely, our society is predominantly women, with, men's suicidal, rates increasing and all that stuff. It's crazy to think about that. But that's what's messed up in our society too. It's, you think about it, and I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there who have never really taken the time just to talk to their friends and just be like, literally, like, the number one thing I always tell my friends, it doesn't matter how many times we've talked. I'm always going to tell you, hey man, love you, bro. I hope you have a good night, or I hope you have a good day. And I always say love you. You know why? Because, like, you never know when the last time is going to be. You're going to speak to that person.
God, stop making me cry.
No, but, like, I'm serious. Like, I always finish my calls like that with people, because, like, it's just hearing that from somebody kind of picks your spirits up. And like, the difference that you can make in someone's life just by telling them, I hope you have a great day. And like, if it's your best friend and you're not saying I love you, there's something weird going on, dude. Because I know I love my friends. All these guys are my best friends and stuff. And so yeah, I mean, like, we each struggle through things, and going through suicidal thoughts and stuff like that as a man is crazy, because there's a lot of things that you have expectations and you have goals, and you might see your friends advancing, you might see other people doing better than you, but at the same time you have to remember it's not a competition. It's
Right.
everybody's running their own race. You got to do what you got to do, and your trauma can be something that's really difficult to deal with, but you're not dealing with this alone. And
Mhm.
as a guy, like we're in our society, we're raised to, hey, be tough, like put up a
Mhm.
front, like you're okay. But
Mhm.
in reality, I think vulnerability is the key to, bring those statistics down and really just make an impact for, guys and everybody out there who might be thinking about, suicide. Because,
Yeah.
like in the end, if that were to happen, I wouldn't be sitting here right now, right?
Right.
So I think about it and I'm like, you know what? I'm meant to be here, and I'm lucky to be here every single day. So
Yes.
yeah.
Wow. Beautiful. Ken, I was crying over here, which is it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Um, I'm I'm feeling care for you. I'm I'm feeling empathy for you. I don't know how hard you have to struggle and have to struggle, you know. So I'm feeling it. For you to still be sitting here breathing, that means that you've overcome 100% of your bad days.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I
but
mean, not like
feeling
that, not like I've overcome every single bad day, because I'm sure there's going to be more to come. But at the
right,
same
but the
time,
ones
like,
so far,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
you know, because
yeah.
you had every reason to leave, but you're still here, and that's amazing. You know, I I don't know if you know this, but folks who, yeah, because I talk about it a lot more. Um, I talked about it a lot more on season one, if anything. But folks know that when I was 15, I committed suicide. I was dead. In
Wow.
this room, actually, that I'm recording this podcast, um,
How are you?
there.
You said you were 15, so like that was around the time we were
That
in
was when
still
we
in high
were in
school.
orchestra together.
Yeah.
When we were
What?
in orchestra together.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
February 23rd. Killed myself.
Wow.
Ouch.
I didn't know that.
Out of here. Yeah, and let's see. I don't know where I jumped the gun on this one. I didn't know where I wanted to take this. I thought I had an idea where to take it, but I don't. um,
No, but I mean, that's see, and
and
like that's something too. I mean, like, it's not just like everybody deals with it, even us as kids. I mean, the children still, high schoolers, and high school I think is the most difficult time for anybody, because you're still trying to figure out, exactly who you are. And but yeah, I mean, it's it is something serious. And
it's serious. Yeah,
but I'm
and
glad that you're
it's
still here, and you started your podcast, and you're doing great. So just keep going at it, because like, I kid you not, I was super super happy to see you add me on Instagram. I was like, oh my god, he's doing great. And I saw you launch your podcast and stuff like that. I was like, wow, this is phenomenal. And like, this is what exactly I like to see with people who I've had relationships with in the past, and just seeing them continue to keep growing and doing their own
yeah.
things, and especially helping other people out. So
Yeah, thank you. You know what? I receive that. I receive it. Thank you, Ken. Um, yeah, so this was when I was 15. So this is when we were in orchestra together in high school, freshman year. Well, my freshman year. Your sophomore year, right?
yeah,
It
yeah,
was.
it was my sophomore year.
Yeah. Now I know this is vulnerability time, and I make it clear from the start that anything goes on this podcast. However, there's something that I'm not going to say, and the reason why I'm saying this is for just the respect of just the whole theme of vulnerability,
Mhm.
because I based off the responses for my support group, um, it does not seem like what I want to say and is going to it it might trigger someone who's on the edge.
Okay.
Like if someone is standing on a bridge, it's going to trigger them.
Yeah. No, I
That's
respect that. I respect
I'm
that.
thinking. Right, yeah, no, you're not forcing me or nothing. It's just, it's me saying that for the respect of just the audience listening that, this is vulnerability time. That is something that, so I will say this, there is a reason why I've attempted to leave a couple more times. What I experienced when I died, there's a reason why I want to. Now, okay, so but people who already listen to the podcast, they already know. It's just that so they know that when I died, it was so amazing, it was so loving. I got to meet the Jesus guy, mind you, I was an atheist. So I got to meet this Jesus guy, and I was like, wow. And there's just a lot that I got to experience, and this is what it taught me. Just because we don't believe something doesn't mean it's not true.
Yeah.
And so that's why, you're going to hear me say, my higher powers, God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, the universe, the spirit guardians, the spirit guides, things like that. There's just, I'm not going to go all there right now. But folks know, that's who sent me back to Earth. Sorry, I did not mean to do that spatial expression, but that's who sent me back to Earth. And it's, I will, you know what, I can tie it into this. Now, me sharing that right there, that's not what I meant about, this could trigger something over the edge. It's more of what I experienced there. There's a reason why I've wanted to go back. In fact, many people who've had near-death experiences or have died and came back to life, almost all of them will say that they are, for the ones that don't get a choice, I didn't get a choice to stay in the afterlife. I didn't get a choice. A lot of people do, a lot of people don't. They just get told, it's not your time. But there's a reason why folks like me, by like me, I'm saying who've experienced what's after this, why we're looking at Earth and we're just like, what? We don't want to fucking be here. There's a reason why. There we go. So me getting into depth about that's what I think might trigger someone. But it's nothing bad. I will say that. There's nothing bad. But okay, anyways, so yes, growing up, my parents neglected the shit out of me. I was never loved. I was always abused by them, sexually, physically, emotionally. It didn't matter. That's all men did my whole life is sexually abuse me, physically abuse me. And then I go to high school, which is the place that I was happiest, even though I was constantly getting bullied for something I cannot choose. Fun fact, a lot of the bullies ended up hitting on me after high school. Blocked. I was like, how did you get my information? But anyways, and so it's just the only place that I had peace and happiness, well, what I thought was peace, was not actually peace. It was just more peaceful than the chaos that was going on in this house. Yeah. And I just, no one was there. No one was loving me. I was told some horrible things. I was told many times to kill myself. I was told that my mom should have aborted me by my own brother. Just when you keep hearing that, you're just what's love? No one loves me. I never knew what that was. And so I kill myself. And then this Jesus guy, he hugs me. And I'm like, oh my God. And I felt loved. And I never felt love before then. And I didn't know that because I hadn't experienced anything other than hate. So I was thinking that like hate is the best love there is. I didn't even realize it was like, for example, it's like you kind of don't know what up is until you go down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like I kind of didn't know what love was because all I experienced was hate. And now that I've experienced love, now I know what hate is. And I'm like, no. So
Yeah.
that's what like kickstarted my healing journey. And the reason why I mentioned all of this is because I seemed so happy at school, at high school,
No,
my
yeah, I
freshman.
mean, yeah.
I seemed so happy, and that's. I mean, I was. I mean, it was just better than the household that I was in. But yeah, I seemed so happy. It was sometimes it was very hard to see the cuts on my arm because I would do them so thin, you know. And the cuts weren't me trying to kill myself. The cuts were me because I hated myself. All I was being shown was hate, you know, in this household. And when you grew up with that all your life, that's all you know. And so it's just
Yeah.
like I ended up projecting that onto others and, you know, hated people who were just trying to love me. They were collateral damage, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it no one could tell pretty much. And the reason why I'm saying that is because it's like you can
So
seem all tough and smiles and be going through hell on the inside. What's up, Kenneth?
yeah, no. So what I was going to ask you is like, I mean, so like at that point, it seems like you were building a wall, right? You kind of had put up a wall to kind of just like, because you seem like you were smiling and stuff like that, and kind of not letting people in just to talk to you and listen to what you were going through. Like, I mean, I'm sure you had close friends, right? In high school. And did you feel like comfortable talking to them and stuff, or?
Yes. Not too much
Yeah.
because I never was taught that. My healing journey and the self-awareness journey did not start until February 23rd when I killed myself and also was brought back to life. So that's when all that started. So before then, I didn't even talking just about deep stuff. I didn't even know that was a thing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, either. I didn't either. I'm gonna be truthful with you. I didn't.
right.
At that age, I didn't know that either.
And the thing is, like, the smiling and the happiness was genuine. It was genuine. People used to bring me joy. People used to bring me joy. Okay, now humans get on my nerves just as a whole. I'm not saying people individually. I'm just like, as a whole, I was just like, I don't know. Like being a criminal justice and social work major, I see how like the top 1% it just makes me look at humans and just be like, humans, you disgust me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was genuinely happy. Just because I was away from the hell temporarily. And so that's the thing, people can be genuinely happy in the moment. You know what I mean? Like you're talking to someone, checking in on them. That in that moment genuinely means the world to them, and it's genuine. And I say this because I know some people can think that this person seems so happy around him. They knew they could have talked to me about anything. Now, some people just say that, but some people actually say that, and the person actually knew that they could talk to them about anything, and they did, but then they take their lives, and then people will end up blaming themselves, and I'm just like, no, that you did make that person happy. You did.
Yeah.
That was genuine. However, the body, the mind, it is so complex. Multiple things can be true at once. You can be happy and suicidal at the same time. In fact, most people with depression, this is statistically speaking, most people with depression are not suicidal. I know that we link depression with suicide, but that most people who are depressed are not suicidal. That's actually not it. Depression linked with suicidalness, the reason why it seems like it's more that is because those actions are louder.
Right.
Someone leaves, that is an impact. And so that, like, for example, like, you can experience 99 good things and then you experience one bad thing. Like, the body receives hurt differently than how it receives happiness. One leaves a bigger imprint than the other. And that's also another thing. Like, when people say just focus on the good, I'm like, that is so toxic positivity. I was just like,
No, you're so right. Yeah.
Right? Like, Ken, this is the thing. Like, this is something I also learned. And I know I'm kind of like jumping around, but it's vulnerability time. But it's like, how people say, like, oh, the cup is half empty. I mean, like, is the cup half empty or half full? I was like, no. It's both. It is half empty and half full. You have to acknowledge the pain in order to see the purpose.
Yep.
So it's like, it's both. It's okay. That's why I'm saying I don't want to live. This is just me, for me. What I've learned from school, in my degree, and just my personal experience and self-awareness journey, and my spiritual journey, is that I don't want to live a positive life. I want to live an honest life, because that means we're acknowledging the whole truth, not just half of the truth. Because I have to acknowledge the pain in order to see the purpose. I can't just push it on the rug, pretend it's not there, and which is what a lot of men, or just, a lot of people, but a lot of men have just been taught to do, is just push things under the rug, and we don't know that psychologically, how the body works is it's still going to manifest trauma, whether it's on our time or not. If anything, we're on trauma's time. Like, it's not, oh, I'll face the trauma when I'm ready. No, it's the trauma that will face you whenever it's ready.
Yeah.
That's the scary thing.
And you're so right on point on that too, because like, you're one thing that I used to do a lot before I started going to therapy was literally, like, I would and this is so toxic. Just thinking about it now, I'm like, wow, that was
hey, we're grown. We're growing.
Yes.
We're growing. It's process.
So what I would do was I would bottle it up inside, and I would just literally think, and I would be sitting in the situation, and I'd be like, you know what, this is not happening to me. I would lie to myself, be like, this is not happening to me. This is not happening to me. This is not truth. This is just, it's not happening. It can't be. And then after that, like, I would go work out, or I'd go do stuff, play sports, or meet up with friends, and I would just sit there, think about it for a good 30 minutes, not being able to live in the moment and enjoy the actual things that brought me joy, because I was so busy trying to bottle that emotion up inside of me. And from there, I'd push it down as deep as I could, and it would start reflecting in other parts of my life.
It manifests. Yeah. That's right.
And so, like, it would show, like, the way that I was approaching dating, or it would show the type of relationships that I was having with different people, and it would just start manifesting things in my life that I just overall was trying to get away from, but I was attracting more of it because I never really dealt with the issue. It was just me pushing it down because, as a man in society, you're taught, hey, you got to suck it up. You got to keep going. And, it's tough. And it's not just men, it's everybody in general. I mean, like, you're taught at a young age, like, if you fall, get back up. Hey, if you fall, take the time to understand why you fell. And literally, like, just be able to just sit there and be like, okay, I messed up, this hurt, and be in the hurt for a little bit, like, feel the pain, acknowledge the pain.
Yes, and gotta feel to heal.
Yeah. And, like, don't be scared. Cause, like, the number one thing that I could say too is, like, people can go from dating one person to another person to another person and never really take the time to actually just sit down and be alone. And you need to be the reason why you make yourself smile before you can make anybody else smile.
Right,
And
right.
so, like, like I recently I posted a picture about that. 2023, what has 2023 taught me so far?
Mhm.
2023 has taught me so far to be my own reason to smile. And, like, it's been a rough last 2.5 years. It really has. Gone through a lot, and, like, a lot of people know, a few of my close friends know what I've gone through recently. Um, and, like, it's getting to the point where I'm at now, going through therapy and just being more aware of the things that I was doing, has definitely helped me out like crazy. And, like, what I would say is, if you're listening to this podcast and, you're actually, like, if this resonates with you and and you've got things bottled up inside, just find that one person. Shoot, you can even reach out to me on Instagram, um, and just have a conversation and just talk. Because, like, it's not good to bottle things up inside, and it eats you up like crazy. But yeah,
That's actually, yeah, that's the thing, like,
it's tough.
how the body and the brain works. So the body has two memories. It has the nervous system and it has our brain. Fun fact, the brain actually never forgets.
Yeah.
We forget, but the brain and the body literally never forget. And the nervous system has no sense of time. Fun fact, that's just a fun fact. But so anything that happens to us, our body is going to purge it out, whether that be good or bad. And so when it comes to like trauma or just like bottling up emotions or something like that, our body is trying to love us enough. Our body's just trying to love us by purging out all those bad stuff that it sees is not really helping us, but sometimes helpful can seem harmful. And by that I mean our body doesn't always know how to purge out things in the correct way. So that's why like treatment and intervention, it's definitely critical, because our body, it's going to get it out regardless. It's gonna manifest in different ways. Some people it looks like addiction. Some people it looks, for me, like mine's webcam and porn addiction, because I didn't know how to express what was going on. This was just after this was a couple months after I died and came back to Earth. So like, and still to this day, like, I'm a lot better at it now. But like webcam addiction and like porn addiction, but mostly webcam addiction, like that was just like, that was a way of my body, that was my trauma manifesting, because I was trying to get the right thing at the wrong place.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then another thing is, I forgot what I was going to say. I'm going to be honest with you. But damn it, it was like something really good. But I guess I can say this other thing though, is like, society's like, at least the older generations, defining what masculinity is and what a man is and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, men aren't supposed to have emotions. I was like, wait. We're humans first before we even have a sex or a gender. Like,
Yeah.
we're humans first, and every human has some innate, similar, aspects about them. Every human being has emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Every single human being. That's every human being requires oxygen to breathe. Like, it's things that are the same, but when labels start to get thrown in the mix, labels that are that aren't backed by legit, credible sources. For example, like psychology, biology, childhood development.
Yeah.
Um, so and it sucks because it bleeds onto, like you said, not just men, but it bleeds onto like many people. A lot of collateral damage um, can go into it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what I said, Ken. I can't remember what the fuck I was gonna say. Oh yeah. Never mind. Just kidding. I thought me saying "oh yeah" would make me remember, but it didn't. I'm just gonna whatever. But yeah, that's interesting. That's how the body works. I mean, we literally have to like we have to face things eventually. We have to, because the thing is, if whether we do it or our body / our brain is going to do it, and we just better hope that our body / brain knows how to do it in a healthy way, but it doesn't, because we're not taught all these things. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say, is for every male, and I'm talking to the men specifically, who have been affected by what a man should be, like, oh, you shouldn't have feelings, this or that. I want y'all to know that if it's hard for you to face your emotion, to talk about your emotion, I want you to also give yourself grace and know that this did not start with you, it started to you. You were just a child who was taught these things. You didn't know no better. You were only in survival mode, just taking in the information that was taught to you. Okay? So have grace on yourselves, folks. It's not going to happen overnight. But it is possible. And Ken, would you say it is better, it's worth it in the long run, that it was worth it?
Yes. Heck yeah. It's worth it in the long run to literally just take it day by day. I think what helped me out the most was literally definitely therapy for sure for me, but and my friend and my friend group and all that stuff that was there, but also just taking it step by step. You're not like exactly what you said. It's not going to be a quick switch of your mentality. It's just being able to accept, hey, you know what, I need to really just unlearn everything that I've absorbed, and just literally be more vulnerable. It's the ability of communicating and just being able to say, this makes me feel like shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
And last thing, Ken, that I want to mention, because I want to be respectful of your time. I know it's late, but something that I did when you said take it one day at a time, I'd like that you mentioned that, because it's symbolic for one step at a time. Like, sometimes you got to start small. So I remember a long time ago, what I did is I wrote on a note, for example, I am hurting, or I'm gay, and I put it on a note, and I went to some random place, like a store or something, and I just dropped it. Because it's just like, not only am I confessing it to myself, and I'm just like, I'm still getting it out there, but it's not overwhelming me where, oh my god, someone's going to hurt me because of this, or someone's going to look at me differently because of this. It helped me. It was a small step to help me to end up being more public about what is going on inside. So I started small. I started just writing on a note and just randomly leaving in a bathroom, something small, just really small, I'm hurting.
So that's actually pretty cool. It's actually really cool, because similar to kind of what I did, I actually took the time to write down on a notebook, and it started off because I read an article while I was in school and in college at the time. Basically, it was in psychology and stuff. It was basically about mental health, right? And so the article was talking about just being able to write down exactly the way that you feel. with one word. It could be sad, angry, upset, just a simple word, a simplicity. And you write it down and you put, exactly what you feel. I am sad. And then below that, you can put about, and you can put just a blank, leave it blank. And then just let it sit there for a little bit and think about what it is that you're angry about, sad about, and literally just write everything down that's making you upset, that's making you mad. And that way you kind of know, because as you know, the reason why I say this is because if you continue to bottle things up, there's a lot of things that are going to make you mad. There's a lot of things that are going to make you upset, a lot of things that are going to make you sad. So write it all down, what's making you sad, and then address it little by little and just keep going from there. And I think that's cool that you took the step of being able to write down exactly, where you were in that time, and being able to just drop the note, because that's your first step of you, being able to, express yourself and who you really are. So that was pretty cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, thanks, Ken. Okay, so I know we're running out of time, but I just want to thank you, Ken. I mean, I'm not just saying that. I'm really appreciative for you, your heart, and the story, for sharing with us. Seriously.
Yeah, no, thank you too for having me on here.
Much obliged, my friend. Much obliged. Folks, before I end, I like to do this thing. To anyone listening, if no one has told you today that you are worthy, that you are valuable, and that you are important, please allow me to be the first, and allow yourself to be the second. Folks, you are worthy, you are valuable, and I'm so proud of you for still breathing. After everything that tried to take you out, after everything that's taken you out, you're still breathing. And I'm so proud of you. If all you did today was get out of bed and go right back to bed, I am proud of you. I'm so fucking proud of you. Our best looks different every day. And if your best just looks like a little bit, if your best just looks like brushing your teeth, or just thinking about brushing your teeth and just going back to bed, I'm proud of you, folks. Also, y'all know I like to do a little challenge. Go ahead and randomly text anyone, folks, that they are important, and just see the reaction. Let me do it right now so that I don't forget.
I'm doing it too. So here we go.
Okay. Oh shit, my pen. We love that. I lost my pen. It's right in front. Found it. Oh, I was like, "Are you frozen?" You're just like really still.
No.
I was like, "Is it frozen? What's happening?" Yes, exactly. Yes. Okay. So, with that being said, folks, this has been another episode of Vulnerability Time. See y'all next week for whatever that episode will be. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. The more this podcast gets out there, the more lives could be saved, the more people could be encouraged. Thank y'all for y'all's support, and I will see y'all next week. Bye.